Hello and welcome to Politics Today. I'm Farhan Patafi. Viewers, we are nearing the next elections. The incumbent government is about to complete its term in office, or at least the parliaments are. And then we are going to see a caretaker government. There was supposed to be a consensus between the leader of the House and the leader of the opposition in the National Assembly. That didn't happen. And we know now that maybe, most probably, it is going to go to the special committee that will be constituted. If that also fails, the matter may further move towards Election Commission of Pakistan. But nevertheless, whenever we talk about these matters, we are told that a caretaker prime minister doesn't hold that kind of power. The purpose of his existence is to draw attention away from power rather than exercising power. But regardless, we have to talk about that as well. But now that we are moving closer to the election, instinctively, and I tell you, I have covered many elections. It happens whether you are a partisan journalist or whether you are a balanced journalist. You try to instinctively start balancing because you know that the next elections are coming and people should get a good balanced debate on the media. This is exactly what I've been trying to achieve in past many programs. Certainly, though, I'm trying to balance, it's a state-owned channel. And even there, usually it is thought that it is not easy to balance, but we have been balancing it quite effectively. In coming days, you'll see more of the balance because elections are approaching. This is what we are doing. But what is the private media doing? We were expecting for quite some time that the private media is also going to start acting balanced in the run up to the next elections. We haven't seen that so far. We see similar kind of impulsive reporting. We see similar kind of impulsive discussions as well. Yesterday, one lawmaker and a minister of the federal government was actually slapped by a leader of PTI. That is the state of affairs in this country. And the media, although that channel kept on condemning it, but it kept on replaying the video clip as well. And my problem is when my children, I have two daughters, and when I think of them and they're watching, I think that this is, perpetuation of bad example. Kids or people should not be given that kind of an approach in life, whether the politicians do it or not. But having said that, what happens to the media's role in the elections, that is very important, especially in this age when we have post-truth culture and where people keep on talking about their own entitlement to facts, not to their opinion. Then there's the talk of the so-called fake media, fake news. It's all started with Donald Trump talking about or dismissing the mainstream channels of America, but it has spread. There are countries that have even passed laws about fake news. So how to tell fake news from other or regular news? And finally, social media as well. Today we'll try to do justice to all these matters in order to help us understand these issues. We are joined by a regular panel, two participants who have been quite consistent and quite regular in this show. I'm joined by Zamir, Haider, a senior journalist, an investigative journalist as well. Thank you very much, sir, for being part of the program. Next to him is Javed, Rana, exactly the same description, and you have seen him on this channel and others for quite some time. Thank you very much, sir, for being part of the program as well. So I have to start with the political question. Should we now start believing that the caretaker setup will be decided by unelected officials?
Well, I think that Patafi, both the leader of the opposition and Prime Minister have tried to come to a consensus on the name of a caretaker Prime Minister, but unfortunately, probably the strings being pulled by both the leaders of both the parties,
The clash of egos?
Yeah, kind of. I won't say it's clash of egos, but probably they are looking for a candidate which suits them. And as you have mentioned that elections are around the corner and the caretaker setup has to the prime most duty of the caretaker setup would be to hold elections.
I mean, we are left with only 8 days of this government.
Yes, and I think that they are looking for a candidate who would not succumb to any kind of pressure and would ensure that elections take place on time. And
they have narrowed down the list to 6 people.
Yes,
and astoundingly, if it is a sample of Pakistani people, I would people will be, happy to learn that 50% of Pakistan's population has Jilani as the last name, because there are 3 Jilanis out of a list of 6 that have been nominated.
I'm not sure whether if the 3 Jilanis are in that list of 6 people which has been narrowed
There
down.
are 2?
Probably one. Probably one only.
No, actually, one from each side has already been confirmed.
Well, if you say so, I've got no clue that.
But you keep on implying that you do.
No, but yes, of course, when you hear the news, the rumors, as you have mentioned, that the social media is ripe these days with all these names coming up, and everyone is trying to give an impression that he is privy to the information that this is the name which is going to be finalized. Anyhow, but my point is that I think if these 2 leaders are unable to come to a consensus, and that would
these
only
2 leaders being the party heads, not the Prime Minister and the opposition leader as per the Constitution.
Yes, as because the strings are being pulled by on one side it's Mr. Zardari, and on the other side it's Mr. Nawaz Sharif.
Okay.
So if they don't, I think that the matter should not go out of the parliament. The parliamentary committee at least should be able to finalize the name.
Why do we keep on suggesting or acting as if ECP is not Pakistan's election commission, it is Israel's?
No,
as
no,
if
I'm
we
not
can,
saying,
we cannot trust
I'm not
it with
saying
this
that.
year.
I'm not saying that. It would be, again, if it goes to the ECP, that would be under constitution. Nothing, it's not going to be ultra constitution thing. But my point is that at least they should give the message would be that this parliament has decided a consensus name. This is what what I'm implying to.
And we are going to talk about that as well. Let me bring in Javed Rana. Javed Rana, your inside track. Who do you think is going to be the caretaker Prime Minister?
I think it is hard to predict, but it seems that the Election Commission is going to decide.
Okay.
And if that happens, that means the Election Commission would look at different possibilities.
Different possibilities, or out of the 6 names that are presented by the 2?
Out of the 6 names, they will look at the possibilities that their sport base, how members from the Parliament committee, what is their sport level, and then they will also probably look at on whether or not the PTI is supporting it or not. So they will try to.
You're talking about Election Commission of Pakistan, not the Parliamentary Committee.
Yes, exactly. The reason is last time what they did was, I mean, they thought that this particular candidate, the previous caretaker Prime Minister, he has the relatively maximum support from the political party. So they settled down. So it is Election Commission is not going to have any arbitrary choice on.
But why did you bring up the matter of PTI's choices? I'm saying it because, as per the Constitution, PTI doesn't feature a figure at the central level. It might have something to say in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Punjab, in which one of the provinces it has government, and in the other the leader of opposition is from the party. But at the central level, it is basically primarily 2 parties that are going to come to consensus.
Legally speaking, yes, PTI should not intervene, but there is also a fact that it's a mainstream political party. And if there is a supposedly...
Yeah, but it is so mainstream that last election commissioner in 2013 was primarily nominated by Imran Khan, right? Justice Fakhruddin Ji Ibrahim. And whatever happened to him afterwards, at the hands of PTI is also well known to.
That is a different debate, but
no, it is not a different debate. We are talking about caretaker setup.
We will get into the other side of the picture, how far the Election Commission has the
power. When it goes way
then there were serious rigging charges against the Election Commission, but I think it was not the fault of the Election Commission. The problem was somewhere else. Anyway, the point.
You keep on teasing with these suggestions. You have to either come
Because I don't
clean
want to
or then
divert.
stop,
I don't
stop
want-
teasing.
No, I don't want. I don't want to divert the very issue that we are discussing.
No, it is just an
I think the care.
icebreaker. Then we actually are going to talk about our profession.
Ishad Hassan's name has been proposed by the ruling party, and I think we need that kind of candidate for the caretaker.
Which kind of candidate?
Ishad Hassan, the former governor state bank.
But his name is not on the list. The 6 names that have been given.
I'm not
I think the other
I'm not aware.
state bank's name is on
Yeah,
the list.
there's Shamshad Akhtar.
Begum
we need
Shamshad Akhtar.
candidates
I
like
don't know.
him.
Does she use Begum with her name?
I don't know, but
I don't
probably
think.
Shamshad
She is
Akhtar-
Dr. Shamshad
Yes,
Akhtar.
yes, Dr. Shamshad Akhtar.
Let us call her with
Because
her proper
within-
title.
He
within-
is from
within next-
Asif
Whatever it
Zardari's,
is, she's a professional woman, and
yes,
hey,
yeah.
I really believe that they should be, called the way their titles are. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
So within the next couple of weeks, I think Pakistan need to make critical decisions, maybe by the caretaker government, on whether or not Pakistan need to approach IMF for the short-term loaning. And I think for that decision, Pakistan needs a caretaker prime minister who understands the economy. I think that is important.
Why?
And, because it is
caretaker setup, with due respect, after 18th Amendment, most of the powers of transfer and postings will lie with ECP. And the caretaker is going to be there for 2 months. It's measly 60 days.
But if you have to take decision on whether or not to take a loan from the IMF within this period, then it is important.
You're not going to have that decision.
I don't think
I
so.
hope that
I don't-
I
I
hope
don't
that
can't happen.
situation does not
I
crop
don't-
up. I hope that situation does
Rana,
not crop up.
IMF,
Rana, but
IMF
I
won't
think
even
that
listen to you till the time you don't have an elected government.
No, I don't think so that the caretaker setup would have the mandate to go for a policy decision
They
of
cannot,
going
yeah.
for a loan or anything like that. Or negotiations. Of course, they would start negotiations because they have this interval.
So then
meetings.
that is the point.
Negotiations never stop.
That is the point.
but,
that is the point
you
I'm
know,
trying to make. That you need a caretaker prime minister
But
with the economic background.
No, but you have
preferably.
a finance
But-
minister, right?
but-
The finance
but-
minister
but
can
again,
take care
this
of
is-
it.
this is not an essential condition.
But Rana, this would not justify if you have got a security situation, then you would say that you need some retired general.
No, no,
I mean,
economy
somehow-
and if the situation is we have got very tense situation at the borders, then you would say we need to
No,
have
no,
a
no,
retired
I
general.
think economy, we
or
cannot-
if our
we
bilateral
cannot-
relations with the
we
rest of
don't
the
need
world
to
are
have a
not
prime
good,
minister.
We cannot
then we need to have
bracket
a
economy
seasoned
with other
diplomat.
issues.
So I don't think so.
Why not?
That would be.
Why
We
not?
cannot. The reason
They're all
being is
part
that
of policy
economy and the security are the topmost issues.
Why is it that I smell, Rana Sahab, that somehow you see some connection between the rumors about a caretaker setup that goes way beyond 60 days, and what is going to happen in coming days?
I don't foresee that to happen.
Okay, so
Well,
why?
I see that happening. I don't see that. I don't see elections taking place on time because the foremost reason is that the cases which have been are being decided by the ECP regarding delimitations and of the constituencies. There would be again, if the candidates do not agree to what ECP had to give to them, they would take their cases to the High Court or Supreme Court, and of course, I don't see that happening by 25th of July, which the date has been given by the ECP today.
Yeah.
Because it's a
Call me old-fashioned, but I believe in having faith. And that's why I believe that somehow the elections will take place in time. A lot of bad things can happen. Even after elections, you can have a hung parliament when and where all parties might actually fail to reach a consensus. There can be umpteen other things. For example, there's already a talk about Imran Khan missing in action after a video that might be released, and then also Ram Khan's book. People keep on speculating. Similarly, Mian Nawaz Sharif ending up behind the bars. All these things are there, but doesn't mean that those institutions who are going to ensure that there is democracy in the country, they are going to sabotage it.
Targeting the political leadership with all these tactics that you have mentioned, or because of what the cases are being heard against Nawaz Sharif, I don't see that can have an impact on the elections. Yes, the other two major
Really?
reasons, as Rana
Really?
has said, that economic, no, no.
Mia Nawaz Sharif sitting in a prison cell
So
is a
that-
God's
would
gift.
that lead to-
Hang on, God's gift to PMLN.
That
No,
is
it is
something
not going
else.
to be.
No, it is.
That is
And
something else.
Imran
I'm talking
Khan.
about the, if there is going to be elections or not. I'm talking about that.
Yeah.
These two conditions, whether Imran Khan is being maligned by whatever means which you have said,
I don't
or
endorse
Nawaz Sharif
it,
is
I'm
behind
just
the bars.
saying
But of course, it would
there's a
impact on the
possibility.
poll. It would impact on the poll, but not on the whether the elections would be delayed because of these reasons or not.
No, no.
I'm saying that elections can only be delayed as I see that we have got a tense border situation, and further we are in a very fragile situation as far as our economic condition is concerned.
Right.
So I see that, and the third one which I have mentioned that there is a lot of pendency going on as far as the limitations, delimitations cases.
Didn't they
with the
overcome
ECP.
that already?
No, of course they have given but still the hearings are going on.
Right.
And if the candidates don't
Want to
agree.
chip in here?
They are not hundreds of such petitions pending with the superior courts. We can.
I'm not talking about
Superior Court or
and the
ECP?
There are
ECP, they are saying that by and large they are deciding all these petitions.
But
Have they decided already?
What if the
I mean,
candidates don't agree to
the
that?
sound bite that we are getting from the Election Commission of Pakistan that suggests it's not going to be a big business.
Okay.
So again, now if somebody approaches Supreme Court and they say, look, there are problems in the sense that the delimitation, there is an unfair process, and the Election Commission should be given more time to do that justice. I think that is a very unlikely scenario.
Yeah.
And remember,
If
the
that
Chief
was
Justice-
to happen, ECP wouldn't have come up with a date. It already has. And that actually comes back to Zamir, your point.
That date it has to come from ECP as of now.
Right.
As of now, it has to.
Right, but Zamir, I wasn't saying that somehow some slander campaign is going to derail elections. I said whatever happens, might happen after election, during election, but elections won't be delayed. I don't think that the institutions that are talking about
I agree.
elections are going to let them be derailed. But
Well,
that is
many
an
a slip between cup and
assessment.
the lip. We'll see when we'll reach there. But
Yeah, but remember 2013, we had more dire situation in those days. People used to say that
the
there's going to
security
be a martial
situation
law.
was yes. The security situation was
And
much worse than
and Qadri's
as of now.
Dhanna, if you remember.
Yes, I remember that, but Qadri's Dharna was just an eyewash kind of a thing, and he agreed to a couple of points and he went back. So I was there when I was
1 month. Remember when he says Mubaraku, Mubaraku?
So yes,
Come on.
situation
I mean, those
situation
were,
was worse than we are now in.
Right, exactly.
I agree with.
But
today
now let
the
us pivot
the
away from
economic
this.
conditions are much worse than during
Zamir,
that time.
Yes.
Let us pivot away from this and talk about our own shop, our own business. What will be the media's role? Because in 2013, we saw all channels, save one, actually telling us that only one party exists in Pakistan and it is going to take the walk with the election cup. And then there was one measly, one poor channel that kept on suggesting or supporting PMLN, and afterwards there was controversy after controversy. Do you think that this time we are capable of acting more objectively?
Well, Patafi, I don't know, when you say that let's talk about our own shop, I thought that today would be a holiday for our shop and we would have a closed shop.
Why?
But
Why?
you would always bring us to our own shop, and I don't mind doing that. But it was just on the light.
Actually, this is
yes,
yeah,
of course it is
but
there.
this is the topic that is given to me, and I have to talk about it, right?
No.
Okay.
No. It was just on the lighter note. I've always enjoyed talking about the media. Yes, I agree to a certain extent. But having said that, there again you have to see the leadership of all these political parties. They make sure that these things are being discussed with a clear line on them.
Clear positioning and
Clear
research.
positioning, yes, because then you're look what we have been witnessing for last couple of days, the statements coming from our former Prime Minister, deposed Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif. How can you say that the media would not be discussing that? And when you discuss that, then you say that the media is actually taking one line and they are
No, that is not it. My concern is not about that. Mian Nawaz Sharif's concerns, Imran Khan's concerns, Asif Ali Zardari's concerns, even Maulana Fazlur Rahman's concerns, right? They are legitimate part of the election narrative, so they have to be discussed. It becomes a trouble when an anchor actually sips a glass of water and then starts abusing people. And I can give you umpteen examples of that. And it is a problematic issue when you actually highlight the fact that one party representative actually slapped another, and you keep on repeating it.
Pitafi, but okay, I understand what you are coming towards, but nobody is putting a gun on your head to watch all these talk shows and channels.
Right, I can change, right? I can change, right?
I think that's not valid.
No, I can change the channel, right?
Yes, you can.
What if it is happening on 49 channels?
I still doubt that. It's not that.
It is happening that way.
No, but it's not that, like, one would all start abusing every channel.
You
is
have
replaying,
only one rating agency. It tells you what your ratings are. The same kind of bad behavior is rewarded on television. Everyone copycats.
No.
Everyone is a copycat.
No. Pitafi, I would tend to disagree over here, because sometimes I am convinced that yes, there were some big issues take place, and then of course all the channels have to be on that issue and taking lead on that issue, but this does not mean that all these 49 channels are doing the same and abusing the same leader or same person or same political party.
49 saved too.
Come on.
I mean, come on.
No, but
you have to see the direction.
Again, my point is, Pitafi, why are they doing it? Why are they doing it? Can you tell me why are they doing it?
Because of ratings?
Or people are watching that.
Okay, so the very same people don't reward that kind of behavior in elections.
Then
What
they should
happens
stop
then?
watching that.
No, but this is the problem. You have to have a healthy choice between perspectives.
They can
And
switch to
somehow it
entertainment
seems
channel.
that
That's
they-
always a healthy choice.
No,
That
it
is
is
always
not about politics.
I would prefer watching a comedy movie
Yeah,
or
please
comedy
do.
show.
We don't have a comedy channel in this country, but please do if that pleases you. My concern is those who want to watch news. Pakistan is a country of 200 million people or more. And the problem is you cannot have regimentation of mind oozing from every screen and then pretend that they are representative of the people of Pakistan.
I entirely disagree with my colleague Zamir Haider. The point is, we are promoting violence in politics.
Right.
I don't understand why that slap was allowed to broadcast on channel. There was delayed devices.
Right. It was a recorded
was a
program.
It was a recorded program.
I
By the
agree.
way,
By the way,
program-
to that extent, I agree. 100% agree that.
hang on. Let me
that
clarify
particular clip
one.
should not have been
Zamir,
aired.
hang on. Let me clarify one more thing as well. Among the few anchors, my own colleagues that I really respect, the host of that program is one. I really enjoy his program because he is very frank, he is very articulate, and he has his heart in the right place. The problem is people started pretending as if it was his fault. He was sitting in Lahore, this was happening in Islamabad, and then it wasn't his call to keep on repeating the visual,
Yes.
that clip that was repeated on television. It was editorial decision. I just had to clarify this point because today every individual I found kept on
Criticizing him, yes.
criticizing the anchor.
No.
Again,
I would
it
not-
represents an editorial policy, and that editorial policy
Is obnoxious.
I agree with you. The point is, you are promoting violence. You want to raise your rating, and now many channels have to replay the same clip again and again.
I mean, you can easily achieve that effect by inviting Naimul Haq Saab.
Exactly.
8 years ago, Naimul Haq Saab actually threw a glass of water. Not water.
quite used to-
glass of water.
On
Checking.
Karim Somro
He's
program.
quite used to indulgence in violent activities in the shows. Previously, I think it's not perhaps one example. Now the point is, first they should not have allowed to broadcast this violent scene. And again, it has happened at the expense of disgrace of a political figure.
Right.
Repeating it. Now there are political connotations. People are going to interpret it in a manner that may be more obnoxious. So I think PAMRA should come into action.
Okay.
And this is where
PEMRA will the day it finds its new head. because it is headless right now.
Patafi,
Until-
you're
until
saying that
the
it
Supreme
was.
Court comes into
I
action.
agree. I 100% agree that it was not the host's fault. It was not anchor's fault that this thing happened. But having said that, why didn't the anchor said or in clear words to its editorial management that this clip should not be aired? Because listen,
You realize,
we
hang on, you have worked in private media.
We haven't heard anything coming out of from that
Zamir,
anchor
sorry.
that I actually asked my management that this clip should be edited and this should not be relayed.
Zamir,
because
hang on. An answer to that. You know, you have worked in private media for quite some time. I have worked there as well. At the end of each program, there is an assertion of copyright. Do you know who owns the copyright? The channel, its owner, right? The problem is, if you are an owner or if you are editor, it is your airtime. It is not anchor's. Anchor can sit there, blabber on, and you can stop him, or you can put him, make him go off air.
Anchor can put his foot down and say that, like, since this was my program and I would not allow this thing to be aired, so please. So this is something,
I mean, come on, it
I
doesn't happen
agree
that way.
what you are saying, but my point is, the ideal situation would have been, so this is what I'm implying to. You were saying that, like,
No, but he's right. There are bylaws discouraging this kind of behavior. And mind you, when a former prime minister and the current prime minister can be censored on air, because there is a possibility that they might not, they might be abusive regarding the sitting judiciary, right? And I see the point. Why is it that those laws don't kick in when it comes to physical violence on television?
Exactly.
No, that's what I'm saying, that all the channels should actually ban the person who starts this physical violence.
Why would they?
Like, they should completely.
He will be a gold mine for ratings, because there is again one rating agency.
But my point is that someone has to take a lead and put his foot down and tell the people that this should not be shown, this should not be aired, because.
Zamir, tell me another thing. How many channels do you think we have, news channels in this country?
I don't know, probably 35, 40 or something.
Approaching 50 now, 49 or 50. Tell me, what must be their business model to break it even?
Well, business model and.
I mean, advertising? Are they selling
I don't
subscriptions?
Think so. No, I don't think so. That is happening.
Okay, there is a PEMRA, doesn't take notice of the fact.
It does it.
No, it cannot monitor more than 25 or 30 channels.
No.
And there are 50 channels. It has given licenses.
No, but all these channels which matter are being monitored 24/7.
Ask their individuals, they'll tell you they don't have installed capacity of monitoring more than 30-ish channels. And there are more than those channels, right?
So I think the 30.
Now the next logical
that matter are hardly 15, 20.
Yeah, but that is quite a big number. The second question is, in a country where you have that kind of demand, that you have 50 news channels, how many rating agencies do you have?
I don't know, maybe one or two, but again,
no, don't muddle the answer. One or two.
I don't know. There's only. I think there are two now.
No, there is a people meter and there's a diary method. People meter actually belongs to one company. Diary method is not used for advertising or allocation of advertisements.
Yeah, I think the two. I don't want to, because this is something which
I can
is
name the
business
name.
model.
Niatel has come into action. I think
Niatel, PTC have got their own rating system. PTCL has got its own.
Niatel is only in Islamabad, Pindi, and Faisalabad, I guess.
Faisalabad, Lahore.
Yeah, 4 cities. It is not quite that kind of a sample. Similarly, when you talk about media logic,
look at the number of the viewership that they have.
Yeah, do you know which channel or which service could have given you the right kind of answer? That is PTCL. PTCL provide you with a lot of channels all over the country, and they have quite an effective method. The only problem is they haven't gone into the details of color-coded buttons for children, elders, and age groups. If they start doing it, you'll have a very effective one. At this moment, the problem is there is a PBA. PBA accepts only Media Logic's ratings, and Media Logic is a monopoly. my question is, when you have 50 channels, how come you don't have more than one service when it comes to ratings? And that is important because the content is being given some kind of spin. Yeah, can you watch Sheikh Rashid for 1 hour?
People love
But
doing
people
that.
watch it.
No, I'm not talking about people. I'm asking you. Can you watch him
we,
for
we
an
have
hour?
to, instead of watching channel, we have to monitor. And we have to see the context. I mean, sometimes you have to watch Sheikh Rashid to
Yeah,
know.
sometimes you do, but
sometimes.
that is out of sense of duty rather than sense of,
Exactly.
you know,
Just
thirst
for the
for
sake
knowledge.
of watching?
Yeah,
The thirst for knowledge or some guy, you know, the guy doesn't have that kind of vocabulary to begin with, to have that kind of presence, but he gets excellent ratings. Extremist groups, there are umpteen other similar kind of examples that get great ratings, right? I'm not saying that the entire system is polluted or somebody is fixing the results. My issue is that there are limited samples and one monopoly. You should at least have at least 2 or 3 companies to compete in the very space. If you don't have it, you will see that Pemra or no Pemra, you will have bad content on air every day.
I think there is the point is to begin with. Again, the point I wanted to I made early on. PEMRA needs to come into action. Let's hope it gets its head soon. Let's hope.
Ahead, and secondly, should it be answerable to Information Ministry or a standing committee?
It should
or
be
a special
it
committee?
should be answerable to only the Parliament or the Standing Committee. I think the role of the government in policy making or giving a policy direction to the PEMRA should come to an end through legislation.
No, but government,
again-
government, and I know government, and you know government, doesn't have the kind of capacity to instruct or dictate PEMRA.
They did last time, you remember, in November last year,
Only one day.
when all the channels were shut down.
Yeah.
It was on the directions and directives of the government.
Yeah, but I think that there was a state consensus that they should be shut down, and even then, the lobbies are lobbies, and the man who was heading PEMRA at that time is no more there. Right? You have to take into cognizance a lot of issues. The point here is, while we are talking about fake news, we are talking about bad behavior on television screens, we are talking about violent behavior as well, and we are talking about possibility of election results being fixed through disinformation on the election night as well. Is it not important to actually keep on challenging the existing models, you know, business models and other models as well, so that you improve the quality of content on it?
I think most recently, I think just over 2 weeks, one news item, which was the order of the Supreme Court. It was not broadcast or printed by most of the newspaper.
It
and
was
most of the
misconstrued by some.
No, that is separate.
Misreported,
I'm
right.
talking about Supreme Court's order about Bahriya Town in Karachi.
Yeah, that funny. In this,
Isn't it funny?
In this program, I have hosted multiple programs discussing the very same issue. It is said that if you want to know who holds power in a society, look at it who cannot be criticized.
Exactly.
Sitting on these channels and the private screens as well, we have discussed everything. We have discussed politicians, the judiciary, people were critical as
Military,
well.
intelligence
Military
establishment.
and the intelligence agency and God knows everything. Spare one big business tycoon. Nobody seems to actually discuss.
The reason is money.
Okay, only money?
Money and then his influence. And previously, 3-4 years back, rather 3 years back.
So it is the
we could
answer to business model as well.
Media could not have criticized Altaf Hussain for different reason.
Yeah.
In this situation, for a different reason. I think sooner or later, I foresee that there will be equal criticism on Bahriya Town and Riaz Malik.
Yeah,
Why
but
not? Why he has been excluded?
Look, my problem is that when you look at the discussion or the criticism of so and so individual on television, it has to, or the demand has to be organic. And organic demand should generate organic response on television, right? When for years I cannot actually report anything critical of Altaf Hussain, when Altaf Hussain is removed from picture, again my imagination, my brain doesn't work. Then I find another Altaf Hussain for Karachi, And then I start treating him in that manner.
In more soft form, but
Right, whatever it is, or then there's this implication somehow, there's deep state involved, and then you will not criticize them, although everybody can. The point is, somehow, somewhere, our journalistic standards were lost. And while we can complain about Pembra, while we can talk about the owners, while we can complain about the viewers, that they like this kind of stuff,
how many anchors are there who have a journalistic background? You see,
Does that matter?
It matters.
How? Why?
Because when you talk of ethics, when you talk of professionalism, then you will have to see what is the background of our anchor persons. Because if they have the background, they will try to follow journalistic ethics. If they don't have, and then they will make speech, they will be very subjective.
I'm sure.
I'm not saying about everybody.
I'm sure that if you have been through the stumbles and tumbles of journalistic career, you must have come across many people who are working professionals, journalists, but they don't have that gland that represents some kind of conscience or internal critic.
That is unfortunately there are exceptions,
So,
but we also know they are a very good journalist.
I know, but they are not
They
all.
have the background, and I think
And
that is reflected in their content.
Rana, and still, if they were not able or they were not allowed to discuss what the decision had come up about the Peria town, what do you say then?
Then again,
he's a thorough professional journalist.
But then it is the
and
editorial
he's hosting
policy
a
of the
program.
owners.
So this is something, you
Zamir,
cannot blame the journalist for that.
But again,
I have to build his point.
there is not a
If I'm a
zero-sum
journalist
discussion.
and my channel doesn't allow me to air whatever I want to say,
have got their own
I
editorial
will
policy.
only take this mobile phone, record a video, and put it at least on YouTube and tweet it about it, right? Did you see any similar kind of programs being floated on YouTube or elsewhere? No. That means it is not only, the problem doesn't lie only with the media owners or their business models. It lies with the ethics of journalism.
Then you don't know. Patafi, excuse me. But let me tell you.
He has a very valid point.
No, he has a very valid point. But the point is that the owners of the channels would not even tolerate a tweet on the social media by his leading anchor to tweet something against where they have got business interests. So again, it zeroes down to the same thing that the owner.
The problem is every time we
This
used
is
to have,
this is true. This is true.
This or that foreign NGO will come to this country and train journalists on media ethics. And I would, every time when I go there, I would say, you have to call the executives in, because it is the executives who make the decisions. You keep on imparting the same knowledge to the people who are already, like your own choir, and they know exactly what you're saying. But the problem here is.
But Rafi, let me tell you. Okay, this is one thing. This is something which upright journalists would tweet or push something on the social media.
Nuts about
if that particular journalist who is a journalist and anchor goes to some other TV channel who has got who doesn't preach that kind of a policy, that they have got no limitations to talk about Barrier Town, even if that particular person talks about that thing on the other channel, he would still be asked that why are you doing it, and stop, please.
I think the extent,
is it not,
the point
is it
he's
not
making,
how
this is
you are
something,
made a martyr? Is it not how you increase your worth as well? What happened to our ability to play on these issues and make a bigger martyr of ourselves? For example, I tweet, and then I get a lovely long notice by the authorities of the channel not to do it or to take back the tweet. The next tweet, what will be the next tweet? It will be the same notice actually pasted on your Twitter account, right? It happens that way. It happened in America, in India, elsewhere. Why is it that we have become so craven that we don't even want to fight back?
I'm surprised what
most
Zamir
of
is
the
talking
channels.
about. I didn't know about it,
Yeah,
frankly.
actually,
He might be. What he says must be true, because he's from the
While
inside.
he is suggesting or naming Beria, he means something else. And I know he has given one anecdote in the past as well, where somebody was asked to remove a particular tweet or Facebook status by the owners hitting some institution, right? That also happens in this country, and we have to, we cannot fool ourselves that this country didn't have a funny civil military history, right? We do.
We have experienced that. We have actually witnessed that.
So we are transitioning to a proper democracy, and we will, inshallah, someday reach there. But at this time, the problem lies not only with the people who might be trying to censor you, but with the people who don't want to fight back. Do you want to fight back?
Yeah,
I think the business interest of the owners, they dominate over everything. You see, they
don't own Twitter, do they?
And they don't own, but they do own you in terms of being.
But they say that since you are a celebrity, you have got umpteen numbers of followers, so you should withdraw your tweet, or you should remove this status from your Facebook, or else
lose your job?
You can see the door.
Yeah, but can you not come back and tweet about that?
Of course, then you would do if you
are so powerful. If you
opt to take the highway,
it will create a space.
The owners would say it's my way or the highway. If you opt to go for the highway, then you would always do all these things on the social media. Then you'll push all these things.
Let me tell you something interesting. A few years back, I received a call from a owner of one of the top business media house, and he said, "Your television, there's on your web." There is a news against our media house, and that is not being removed, though the original source of the information was a British newspaper. They have apologized us, but your channel is there, the news is still there.
Are you talking about air-wide geo conflict?
Let's not get into this, but
no, but you are that. We are being honest. We are not criticizing.
I mean, it's a mainstream channel, and somehow or the other, then I talked to my channel, and they said actually, because of technical reasons, we cannot remove this link.
Okay. Because of technical
reasons.
Otherwise,
what is the technical reason?
I think they can better explain it.
They cannot update a website.
But the interesting part is that the social media is very effective.
Okay.
You see.
But is it not true that every political party also has, a troll farm of supporters that are going to actually try tip balance in support of them, and they'll come at you even if they are from your own party and abuse you if you disagree with the leadership.
That is a very unfortunate part.
And is it possible then that they come up with fake news as well?
I think in this time and age, particularly if there are national issues, if there is a fake news, that means it is not going to survive beyond 24 hours.
Yes,
because
no, I give you one example.
Other parties.
Mian Nawaz Sharif gave an interview. Whether you like it or not, he gave an interview, right? It was quoted, and there was, the contentious part was only 2 lines or 3 lines in total. But then Indian media steps in, the effective media, the conscientious media, the free media, and then it totally, builds a huge story out of it. And I didn't see that kind of words that were associated with the interview and those that were printed. And it ran away, and then our media was reporting them. That also happens. So spin is alive, sir.
I think it is not that simple. In case of the former Prime Minister, it was a deliberate interview. If you go through the interview, he turned to his discussion towards bilateral relation with India, and he.
I don't want to leave it on that note, but I'm told that we have actually run short of time, and we have to conclude the program. Next time we sit together, we are going to actually bring this discussion to a logical end. Javed, Rana, thank you very much. Zamir, Haider, thank you very much for your time as well. It was really an illuminating talk and helped me a lot in understanding what is going on in the media. Viewers, you have listened to our participants. This was today's program. We will keep discussing these matters and put ourselves on the mat as well while we are criticizing other walks of life. And let us hope in coming days we see better standards of ethics prevailing in this country. This was today's program. Thank you very much for watching us. Take care.